Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Just bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie will connect you with local pros who match your specific needs. Or book a service instantly at an upfront price. So join the millions of homeowners who use Angie to care for their homes and get your next home service job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Just bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie will connect you with local pros who match your specific needs. Or book a service instantly at an upfront price. So join the millions of homeowners who use Angie to care for their homes and get your next home service job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
So you thought that was like crossing a boundary?
Once I said no, numerous times. I mean, even if my best friend, my mom, my brother were to get me a gift, $600, I'd say return that immediately. I'm not accepting it. It's way too much money.
This is the plaintiff, Anthony. He says he and the defendant shared an apartment, and the defendant turned out to be a crazy person. They did nothing but argue and fight. The defendant's a slob, and he was forced to move out in a hurry because he was afraid the bug-eyed defendant would totally lose it on him. He's suing him here and now for every penny of the $1,356 he's owed in rent and belongings the defendant trashed. This is the defendant, David Marks. He says he thought the plaintiff was a positive person at first, but things soon turned creepy with the guy. He oiled his feet in the living room. The man entered his room and washed his clothes and even signed the both of them up to join a cult. He doesn't owe him any money because the weirdo moved out with no notice and abandoned his belongings. He's accused of being a rough roommate.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. You've asked us to refer to you as Anthony. Yes. We will do that. Anthony, you are suing David Marks for $1,356 in rent and items that he inappropriately threw out of yours.
Yes.
You used to be his roommate, correct?
Correct.
What happened?
Well, the defendant and I made a verbal roommate agreement that I would pay $675 per month plus utilities starting on February 1st through the end of May of 2015, making that my primary residence for that time being. On May 1st, there was an incident that illustrated...
Did you know each other before this?
Yes, we did.
How did you know each other?
We're classical musicians.
Okay.
And we played on jobs together.
Okay. And how long had you known each other?
I thought it was 5 years. I think it's less than that, 4 years.
Several years, and
yeah.
then what happens?
Then through conversation, I needed a room to stay, and he said a room was opening up for him.
Right.
I had thought we were friends, and we had gotten along really well. It was great in the beginning, but things started to sour, from what I remember.
How long did you live there until things soured?
End of March.
So pretty quickly. You lived there for 2 months,
yeah.
and then things sour.
Yeah.
And why did they sour?
Things that I would do seemed to really make him angry, and I couldn't quite understand what was going on. Well, apparently, oiling my feet. I'd never oiled my feet in the living room. It was very bizarre for me to hear that.
Did you oil your feet?
No.
At all?
No. It was the winter, and I had a roll-on for my heels, and I did it once in the living room, and I thought that was a very interesting point that he had made up. But,
okay, what was the problem?
Well, I mean, I can really get into those things, but they don't really pertain to the case so
Why
much.
don't you let me be the judge of that?
What? Okay, I'm all for it.
Okay.
All right, so I had a rough couple of auditions. So this guy signs me up to this thing called Landmark. If you Google it, it's like a self-help cult. Like the word cult comes up. I said no numerous times, like so many times. Even when the guy that works for Landmark was on the phone, and he was like trying to get me to pay for it, him to pay for it. And so I said, wait, how much does it cost? And it cost $620. And I'm like, no way, Anthony.
But you're actually talking to the guy, so would you have done it other than the money?
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to do it.
So why are you even talking to the guy?
Right. So he made me talk to him, and I'm talking to the guy. So once I found out how much it costs, I'm just like, absolutely not.
But you're talking to the guy, and then you think you're doing something nice, and you go out and you actually buy him the meetings or whatever.
It's called Landmark Education. It's a Landmark forum, and it's the study of ontology, the study of creating a life, living it powerfully, and creating a life you love. And I had been saving for a laptop, but I thought I was friends with the defendant, and he was going through a rough period, and I thought, how can someone be so negative? And I just thought, just try to, and it's not even a religious thing. It's just a seminar, creating a life you love and living it powerfully. And he took it into something that was so different, and he kept on bringing this up, even though I took full responsibility.
You bought it for him, and
I bought it for him.
Did you get your money back? Because he said, I'm not going.
It's non-refundable. And
so did you go?
No. I have a year credit.
Okay. And so you thought that was like crossing a boundary.
Once I said no numerous times. I mean, even if my best friend, my mom, my brother were to get me a gift, $600, I'd say, return that immediately. I'm not accepting it. It's way too much money. He just doesn't understand. He's a good guy. He really is, deep down. He just doesn't understand where the boundaries are. If someone says no, that means no, man. I'm not going to do it. I mean, and there are numerous other things. So what was like the snap?
What was the last thing that happened that caused the problem?
Okay, so the last thing that happened was this. For 3 months, I would get text messages virtually every single day with him detailing his schedule to me. And again, that's nice, but I don't need to know these things, you know? I don't care when you leave the house.
But why didn't you just tell him that?
I was
you
kind of keeping it all
until
up the
you
side.
were right. Until you blew
because
up.
he was doing good things, and he has good intentions.
Yeah, but what is that? I don't care how good his intentions are. Somebody's texting me their whole schedule every day. I tell them, listen, I feel really bad for you, but I got a really busy schedule too. I can't be reading your schedule every day.
Exactly.
You know, just say something normal, face to face, not by text.
And I sent him a text right afterwards.
Right.
And this took place the day before May 1st. And I said, dear God, period. I know you mean well, but I really don't need to know what you do when you do it. And he took it very personally.
Text is never for reaching out to another human being. You have a situation, this is just, I'm giving you advice as an older, wiser woman, that you know, when you have to live and get along with somebody in a roommate situation, a relationship situation, in a boss situation, whatever it is, trust me that it is always better to look into someone's eyes and have empathy and see how the way what you're saying is going rather than nasty text. You know, it's just not a good idea. But in any event, you're driving him crazy. He doesn't need to know your whole schedule. So he writes that back, which is a little, you know, bad. Really, but then what happened to, 'cause that's not enough for things to snap. So what happened for things to snap?
So May 1st, an argument ensued when I came back because I had been apartment sitting.
What was he saying?
Oh, that we have to talk. He was uncomfortable with me.
You need to stop what you're doing. You're irritating me. Uncross your arms and just you're in court. So you don't pace and go ahead.
I was actually late. I was actually said, I have to get out of here because I'm really late. And I slammed the door. There was that fight or flight sensation that came over me because I've once seen.
So you slammed the door and said what?
I said, I can't believe I'm living with such a.
Okay.
Because I had to come out because there was months of me holding it back inside, all inside.
So now apparently the floodgates have opened, and then he starts to text you, and you feel that it's threatening because it's like you would never say it to my face. You better not say it to my face.
Correct.
We'll see what'll happen.
Right.
And then there's all these texts back and forth. So you come back to that apartment when?
I came back later that night.
Okay.
With a friend of mine. I actually texted, I'll be coming back tonight with the police.
Okay.
And
then you came back with a friend, and did you take all of your things?
I took the majority of my things. The defendant had.
Why didn't you take all of your things?
It was such a last-minute thing.
Okay. So did you make a plan for when had you paid May's rent?
I actually paid on the 3rd of May.
Was that an issue at all between you guys? I kind of said, "Where's the rent?" All right.
No, never.
Not that then. All right. So you take everything that you can take, but that's not everything, and it's obvious it's not everything, right? Your bed is still there. Right. Did you cash the check?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So he's paid up for May, and yet you throw out all his stuff. So why don't you explain that?
Okay, well, actually, what happened prior to May 1st was I sent him that text saying, I don't want any more of your text messages about your schedule. He took it quite personally. He came back the next day around noon, and he was visibly agitated, like visibly upset by the text, I think, from the night before. And he slams my door, and then he starts calling me names, and then I don't hear from him. Anyway, I have a gig May 1st, I get back around 2 o'clock in the morning, May 2nd, as my text message over there will show. All of his stuff is gone except for his bed. And this is kind of a relief, and I'm happy for this. But I need to know where the money is so I can pay the rent. I didn't hear from him for a week. He says he sent it on the 3rd. I received it on the 8th, and I texted him immediately afterwards saying, thank you for the money. However, I waited an entire week, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I heard nothing. And we live in an era where there's electronic communication all over the place. It's ubiquitous. And you can email me, you can text me, Facebook message me, you can throw up a smoke signal, whatever you gotta do, just let me know that you're gonna come back for your bed. So as far as I was concerned, he was gone. Not paying anything for May, nothing.
Was there any communication between the two of you from May 1st when you left to May 8th?
No, I was strongly advised by the police. I started a police report from the texts I received from him on May 1st and 2nd.
Was there any communication from you to him?
Yes, I texted him right afterwards. I said, where's my money?
All right, so May 8th comes and you receive it in the mail, you cash it, you send him a text saying, that's great, I cashed it, thanks, and I threw out your stuff.
Yeah, I think it's bed, mostly
Oh,
bed
let me
stuff.
see the text.
However, I tossed your bed, rice cooker, etc.
Right, not bed, rice cooker, etc., right?
Yeah.
So you clearly know that it was more than the bed.
Oh, yeah.
See, and then according to you, you tell him, I spoke to a lawyer, I'm solid, and this is open and shut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you really speak to a lawyer?
I did. I spoke to 2 attorneys, friends of mine.
Attorneys who actually practice law? What kind of work do they do?
Legal stuff.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, if you have a roommate and you don't get along, is it better to confront the person early and just deal with it, or not say anything and hope that it gets better?
I would say speak up and confront them early.
But that could cause animosity, right?
Absolutely, but if you don't say anything, then the problem won't get fixed.
Okay. Ever have a roommate that you didn't get along with?
Yeah, I have a twin brother, so he's pretty annoying.
Interesting. Do you get along or not get along?
We kind of get along, but he always tries to annoy me, and I've learned after quite a long years just to ignore him.
Interesting. I never quite heard that before. I thought it was always simpatico. Going inside the courtroom.
They don't know what they're talking about if they told you this is not a problem. They are wrong.
Well, I mean, you're definitely more of an authority than I am.
I would think so.
Right.
Here's the thing. I know it feels natural to say, geez, I thought the guy was out. I thought he left this behind. You know, if the marshals remove a body, you can throw everything out. But if the person leaves and leaves something behind, the law is that you have to wait a reasonable amount of time before you dispose of it and consider it abandoned. So you can't, as a landlord, which is essentially what you were to him, toss out his stuff, even if it looks to you like the guy's not coming back. You actually have to sit there with it for 30 days. All right, so now, do you have receipts for the things that you're claiming?
No, I do not.
How do you come up with your figures?
Oh, that's what I had paid for.
Well, how do you know? If you don't have receipts, how do you know what you paid for him?
I remember.
I think this is the part where I'm going to use my best judgment.
Okay.
Describe the queen-size bed you left behind. How long had you had it?
From February. 3 months?
Okay.
3 months.
Okay. Let's talk first about May rent, because we have a couple of issues.
Yes.
All right? The problem is, and the reason why you cannot get your May rent back is because of the fortuitous circumstance that this happened on May 1st and not April 30th. Okay. Because had it happened the day before, you would be able to get your rent back. But once you start to live one day in a place, then you've already paid the rent, you're already living there, the month has started. Now the standard for you to get your rent back is very different. Now the standard is the place uninhabitable, okay? I read the text carefully. I understand how you felt that there were veiled threats, but they, frankly, I don't think that they rose to the level of you being able to get your May rent back. I think this is just two people smack-talking and fighting. And so, no, you are not getting May rent back.
Okay.
All right? Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Well, first out of the courtroom here, the defense steps in and says, well, what about how this came out?
I'm shocked. I guess when people just lie, it comes off as truth. He only paid like $100 for that bed. I was right there when he did it, so.
Have you had other roommates?
I have.
Right? And how's it go with the other roommates?
Usually fine. They usually just mind themselves. I mind myself.
You're not the kind of guy who should be living alone?
I like to live alone too, yeah, of course. Yeah? Who doesn't like to live alone?
All right, sir.
All right, so step on out here, and you didn't get everything you sued for. You understand why you don't get May rent, right? Okay.
Yes, I do.
You satisfied how this comes out?
Actually, I am, and I would like to say that his character really, he's masking. He's really a troubled person, actually.
Were you trying too hard to be too friendly too soon?
No, actually, because we were friendly prior to this, and I just saw him in a bad state, and I thought really I was trying to help him out to pull him out of the negativity of life. And
he described that as a cult.
It's not a cult.
Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, you know, the laws of abandonment vary from city to city, so what you should do is either check online with your city or call your local police department. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Whether it's routine maintenance, an emergency repair, or a dream project, Angie lets you compare quotes from multiple local pros, browse homeowner reviews, and even book a service instantly. Angie's been connecting people with skilled pros for nearly 30 years. So the next time you have a home project, bring it to Angie to get your job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This is the plaintiff, Emily. She says after traveling for 35 hours from the Philippines, she hired the defendant to drive her home from the airport. And when she got there, one of her bags was missing. As it turns out, the inept guy forgot to latch the trunk of the car, and one of her bags fell out onto the side of the highway somewhere. They retraced their steps, called the cops, but nothing. Now, she wants to be reimbursed for missing things and is suing the uncaring defendant for the $775.20. She's out. This is the defendant, Stephen Talley. He says the plaintiff is very sneaky and not to be trusted. He thinks she brought all her suitcases into her house and then came out and said one was missing. They retraced their steps twice and found nothing. The cops called him, asked him some questions, and that was that. He doesn't feel responsible because there's no evidence one of her bags is even missing, so that should be it. He's accused of being a loser.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the cabbie lost her luggage on the way back from the airport. She thinks it fell out of the trunk, but the defendant says she's pulling a scam. It's the case of where's my junk in the trunk?
Okay, you've asked to be referred to as Emily. Emily, you are suing the company that provided a taxi ride for you, represented here by Mr. Stephen Talley. You are a dispatcher and a driver for the company?
Yes.
All right. For $775.20 in lost property, which you say happened as a result of their negligence. Tell me what happened.
Sure. Late in the evening on March 28th, I was returning home from the Philippines, where I was visiting my mother, who, after retirement, became a U.S. Peace Corps volunteer. So I took a shuttle from JFK to a hotel that's less than 2 miles from my house. And when I got to the hotel, it's like 11:40 at night. I had 3 suitcases. I was a woman alone. So I asked for a cab from the hotel, and it was who they recommended. And so I asked them to call, who they would recommend.
Where are you going in that cab? You're going from
less than 2 miles to my apartment.
All right. You went on a trip to the Philippines to visit your mom, right? Mm-hmm. And what is it that your mom is doing in the Philippines?
She is a volunteer with the U.S. Peace Corps.
That's so cool. She did that after she retired?
Yes, ma'am.
What did she retire from?
She's a speech and language pathologist. So
God bless her. Is that what she's doing over there?
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. All right. So you come back to the airport in New York?
Yep, JFK.
And then to JFK, and then you take a shuttle to a hotel near your house?
Yep, less than 2 miles from my house.
Okay. And then you were taking a cab from that hotel, because now you've made it 90% of the way to your house.
Yeah, this is after 35 hours of travel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're exhausted. It's 11 at night. He shows up. What happens?
He shows up. I have 3 bags. in addition to a backpack on my back. Two of the bags were my mother's, one of them was my own suitcase. So he puts them in the back, and we have a nice conversation in the short drive home.
Did the trunk close or no?
He put them in the back.
Did you see whether the trunk closed or no?
I did not see whether the trunk closed.
Did he comment that the trunk didn't close?
He did comment later. When we got to my house, he said, "Didn't you have 3 suitcases?" And I said, "Yes." And, I came, and then the 2 suitcases were there. I really thought it was quite unbelievable. And he even made the comment, "This never happens." I asked, did he close the trunk? He says, "This never happens. This has never happened in 25 years of driving."
Did he say whether or not he had closed the trunk?
I believe he said that the trunk was not closed because he specifically said this never happens, and usually it keeps it in there. He pushed it down. Yeah, now that I think about it, he mentioned that he pushed it down, and that is usually enough. But there was some discourse about him not latching the trunk because later in the evening I said, "Please shut the trunk in the future." And that wasn't a debated topic at that point. So
what did you do when you realized that a bag was missing? What did you do?
I was exhausted. I thought it was pretty absurd that in this 2 miles after traveling from the slums of
You didn't hear anything? You didn't hear a thump or anything?
No, and we actually even discussed that. Actually, we discussed that we were surprised that we didn't
Did you see him put all 3 pieces of luggage in the trunk?
Yeah, and I did see him do that.
You did see him put all 3 in?
I did.
All right, so you get there, he says that, and then what is the first thing you two do?
I put my other 2 suitcases in the house and got in the car with him immediately.
To do what? To retrace
go back
your
and
steps?
retrace our steps. I
All right,
basically
so
said...
did you 2 retrace his steps?
We traced our steps together.
And did you find anything?
We did not.
Did you find any mysterious-looking people around the area? Was it a really populated area that you drove?
No, it wasn't a freeway. It was what we call an access road that runs parallel to a freeway.
Is it populated? Are people walking around?
It's one way.
Are people walking around there? Is it desolate?
Absolutely not. There's no sidewalks or anything.
So it's kind of desolate? Mm-hmm. What the heck? What happened to the bag?
Exactly. So
no, exactly. Now, really, what happened to the bag? Does anybody know? Nobody knows.
And Mr. Talley did really think. I bet it fell out right away at the hotel.
Right.
So he
did you check with the hotel?
Absolutely.
And they said no.
No.
Okay.
And we even asked, has there been anyone in or out? And the guy at the counter certainly knew me because I'd been sitting there for 15 minutes and said,
"Okay, Mr. Talley, why don't you tell me what happened? What do you think happened to it?"
Okay, on the date, I did pick up Emily, and she did have 3 suitcases. We proceeded to her house. We got to her house, and I don't know if she paid me then or afterwards, but she immediately went up to her apartment. And then I got out of the car, and I unloaded the car, and I noticed there were only 2 suitcases, and she came back. Now, my question is, why did she go up to her apartment?
Yeah, but why? Did you do that?
Yeah, I could probably answer that question. There were going to be 3 suitcases. They were all pull-ons. I couldn't pull all 3 by myself, and I didn't want a strange man coming up to my door that I was entering my apartment alone at night.
So what did you do?
So I put my backpack that was on me in the house, and then I came back out to get the bag.
Okay, so that's the answer.
Without
now
having
go on,
him come
because
up.
if you thought that what do you think she did? Took the bag in question, hid it in the house, and is framing you for the bag rather than just getting her cab ride and moving on with her life?
So do you think after a 35-hour trip, this woman is going to lie and create a scam over 1 suitcase?
No, not at all. I have no idea. It just sounds weird.
It does sound weird. Do you think that somebody that would be in their head after a 35-hour trip?
No.
So you think that the suitcase was really lost?
Yes.
Was the suitcase lost, or is she framing the cabbie?
I think it's lost. I think she probably left it at the airport, didn't realize it.
No. Then she's responsible. Do you think the cabbie left it?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
You lost the bag because you didn't close the trunk. You are insinuating that she's a thief who has framed you in this lawsuit because there's this very suspicious circumstance where she walked inside the house. You are saying to me, maybe she brought the bag inside the house. Let's go with that a moment. That would mean that not only is she a perjurer and a liar, but I would have to believe that the lady, after a 40-something hour travel schedule, wants to sit around with you, retracing her steps, calling the police, and doing all that in the middle of the night. Is that what you want me to believe? Because you even cannot believe it.
I just need to say that with her future emails, that's what led me to that suspicion.
Okay, now tell me what about her future emails made you think that?
Okay, the first email that I received has a list of the items, each individual item listed with a link that you could link on, and it shows where she bought it from. I found that to be a little strange.
Why?
Well, how many people would know like exactly what items you had and what store you bought them at and remember if they were more than 6 months old? And in one of the emails, there were threats.
Tell me about the threats.
If we don't take this to small claims court, I will seek non-sale full market value and include a $600 pair of prescription eyeglasses that were lost in the suitcase but not included in the original list.
What's that about?
You know, I made the list immediately. I should mention at 2 in the morning. So after I ended with Mr. Talley, I filed a police report.
You wrote the list of what was in the items of someone else's bag. How did you know what was in the bag? Did you speak to your mother that night in the middle of the night or no?
Yes, that day.
Okay. So in this list here that you filed in your inventory of this lawsuit, did you add that $300 pair of glasses?
I only added $100 to that.
Okay, but why 100 and not 300 if they cost 300?
Honestly, when I made the list initially, I was not trying to be greedy.
Okay, give me receipts for anything that you have. Okay, Mr. Talley, tell me, what did you offer her?
I didn't offer a dollar amount.
Okay. What did he offer you?
He didn't offer me anything.
Okay. Did he ever try to say to you, let's try to negotiate, I don't want to pay the full $700?
He never responded to the email why I explained. He asked for receipts, and if you look on regarding one of your earlier questions, if you look on the police report, you'll see two different, that I did let the police officer know that I wasn't even sure what was in the bag at this
it's 2 in the morning. I got it. You can stop.
And
$775. You know when I get suspicious? When someone asks for $5,000 and they start telling me about the jewelry they had in the bag. None of that's happening. It's $775.20. It's an incredibly reasonable amount. Pay the lady. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Well, the defendant's out here on the losing end of this decision. You really think she would have sued for $775 if she was making this whole thing up?
Well, there was a couple circumstances in the case that drew me to that conclusion. So that's why we have courts to find out what the real truth is.
All right. So now you know what the real truth is. You lost it.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, and so that's your fault. So how are you going to prevent that from happening ever again?
Oh, make sure that trunk is closed from now on.
All right, okay. All right.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Do that. All right, come on in here. And so, satisfied?
Yeah, I'm satisfied. Things are things, they can be replaced. My mother did lose some items of irreplaceable value from her work in the Philippines, so I'm sad for that. What's more important to me is the way that people treat each other in a civil society, and I believe that, mistakes happen, and so Mr. Talley deserves to be treated with respect, but a taxi company that is a reputable company is responsible for the actions of their workers, and so that's what I felt.
Into the Peace Corps also?
No, I'm not.
Harvey?
So, judges are allowed to use common sense, especially in small claims court. It just makes no sense that this woman would go through the hassle of creating a scam after a trip like that. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Kimberly Dowling. She says she applied to work at McDonald's, and the defendant, her sister, who also worked there, told the manager she had an order of protection against her. This is simply not true, but the manager refused to hire her anyway. She can't believe her sister is so malicious, has defamed her good name, and she's suing her for $5,000 for the loss of work she caused her. This is the defendant, Michelle Dowling. She says she doesn't know why the plaintiff, her sister, would apply to work at the same McDonald's when she knew she worked there. The plaintiff is a demon. She filed for an order of protection against her and doesn't want to be anywhere near her, let alone working at the same job. Owe her money? Ha! She's accused of putting the kibosh on a Happy Meal.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff applied to work at a McDonald's, didn't get the job because her sister, the defendant, told the manager that there was an order of protection that the defendant had against the plaintiff, so the manager didn't hire her. The defendant is saying it is all BS. It's the case of give me a break.
Thank you, Douglas. Kimberly Dowling, you are suing your sister, Michelle Dowling, for $5,000 for loss of work and defamation of character.
Yes.
What happened?
I applied to McDonald's because I recently came up from South Carolina to New York, and I needed a job. I got hired. I had my orientation. I never encountered any words.
When you had orientation, was it a meeting or were you actually working?
Actually, I actually got hired.
All right, go ahead.
That's your first day at work. So everything was cool. As the orientation ended, Ms. Wendy, the manager, she told me to come back Thursday. That'll be my first day on the floor. That's when I said, all right, thank you. I left. And as I could have got no further than out the parking lot and around the corner is when I got a phone call and I got a voicemail because I was driving. So I got a voicemail saying that I need to call the store. When I called the store, Ms. Wendy said, I can't hire you because your sister says she got an protection against you.
Wait, back it up, though. This is your sister.
Yes.
Were you raised in the same house?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a relationship at one point?
Yes.
Okay.
The best.
Okay. So what happened?
That's why we're here.
You have to have some inkling of why you don't have a relationship with your sister.
Okay, well, when I was pregnant with my son last year, she had mentioned it to my fiance that she was jealous of me because I have a car. I graduated from high school, and he asked, he said, but all the stuff that she has, you can get. I was, like I said, I was pregnant. So I was like, sleeping. I didn't hear the whole conversation. When I woke up the next morning, I said, he had told me, and then that's why I had mentioned it to her, to Michelle, and I said, why are you jealous of me? What happened? I said, well, I always try to help you. And as a matter of fact, the McDonald's job that she has, I helped her get into another store where she transferred to the one on Empire. It was working with Ms. Rita and Mr. Duncan.
How did you help her?
Because I knew Mr. Duncan growing as a child.
Okay, so what happened after that destroyed your relationship like this? You don't know. What's going on?
Hi, Your Honor. Okay, I was working at McDonald's there first, because when I got there, I was working there. Okay, she already know for numerous of times that we don't get along because she start fight. She hits my son. She called my son the boy. She
called your son what?
The boy. She disrespect him.
What do you mean? She called him what?
She said, instead of calling by the name, she said the boy.
The boy.
Right.
Okay.
She smacked my son.
When was that?
This was when we just started talking, Your Honor.
This was when? I don't know what that doesn't answer my question.
It was like in July, in the summertime.
And when you say we just started talking?
Yeah, because for 10 years I wasn't talking to her.
What happened for that? You didn't talk to her for 10 years?
Because for 10 years, I was with my husband, the baby father, and I called her like a sister and told her I got hit by a car with while I was riding my bike, and she told me come and see her soon I got to the hospital because she said she wanted to see how badly I was. She accused my husband of he doing that to me. He telling her that I really got hit by a car, the car hit the bike. She's saying, no, you hit my sister. He's saying no. So words got around. She tried to follow him down the block, throwing bottles at him, and they caught him in the ear. Then when Franklin St. John, the police came, she thought that they were going to arrest him, but they didn't. They arrested her.
Did your man hit you?
Just the man hit me on the bike in my knee.
No, did your husband or boyfriend
My husband never hit me, no.
Okay.
It was a car accident.
Had he hit you at some prior time that made her think that?
He never hit me. So
why do you think she thought that?
I don't know, because she...
All right, so you don't talk to her for 10 years, and what causes you guys to start talking again?
Because she saw me in Cookies, and she told me, y'all sister, y'all need to talk to hash things up.
Okay, so then fast forward to 10 years later, a mutual friend ends up trying to broker you two getting...
Together.
Okay, and then what happened?
So she called her up on the phone. She told her to come down to Cookie to squash the whole thing. So we talked things out. We hung out for a while. Everything was cool. She get to see her...
So how long were things cool before they became uncool?
Okay, minutes later, that's when she started with the same thing again. After she changed, she started with the name calling. She started calling me
calling
names.
whom?
Me. She started calling me names.
What did she start calling you?
Started saying, "Oh, that's why you look like a bum because I'm in a family shelter."
That you look like a bum because you're
I'm
in a family shelter. Okay.
And at the time I had no job, and she had the job, so she thought that she was better than me. So I was like, I just got finished talking to you. So at times I said, you know what, I'm gonna stop. She called me up on the phone. She said, why are you gonna do this for? We sisters. Are we gonna do this for? I said, every time I try and talk to you, you always do something to act up. So
how long after you stopped talking to her the second time did she apply to work at your same McDonald's?
6 months later.
6 months later. All right. Now, why did you pick that McDonald's of all McDonald's to go to work at?
Because that's the McDonald's that called me.
So when did you find out that your sister was working at that one?
After the orientation.
All right, so you find out it's the same place. Wasn't that like a little bit uncomfortable for you to work at the same McDonald's as your sister who's not speaking to you?
No, because all this that she's saying is untrue.
So why do you suppose she didn't want you to work there?
I don't know.
All right, what did you tell the boss after she walked out to make them not tell her?
Okay, when she went there after she did all that, I told my boss, I said, Your Honor. She said, I didn't know y'all.
You call your boss Your Honor?
No, I'm sorry. I said, Your Honor. She said, I didn't know y'all were sisters. To be honest with you, if she would have found out that we were sisters, she would never call her.
Why?
Because she said that her policy that she knew would have been a problem.
Okay, come on. Look at me. I'm not stupid. I know you didn't want your sister working there. What did you tell the boss?
I told my boss that I'm in line to get an order of protection for my sister, which I am.
Why? She didn't even apply to be at the McDonald's until 6 months after you weren't talking to each other.
Right.
What happened in those 6 months that would justify you getting a restraining order? By the way, you didn't get the restraining order, right?
No.
You applied for the restraining order and it was denied, correct?
Correct.
Right. All right. And what did you say in the restraining order? 6 months ago, I was afraid?
No, what I told them was in the restraining order, I told them like this. I said, I want to order protection because she hits my son, and my son
When had she, quote, hit your son?
In the summertime, in July.
How long before you applied for the restraining order? Show me the restraining order. You got it with you?
I don't have it on me
Okay.
now.
What day did you apply for the restraining order?
Can I answer?
Do you know?
Yes, because I did get the...
Do you have the restraining order?
Let me see if I have anything with them.
See if you have it. Did you have a temporary restraining order signed by a judge when she came to work?
No.
So you went and applied for it after you told your boss, hey, I'm in line. I don't know what line means. A line starts in your couch. I'm in line. No. That's not how temporaries work. I know how temporaries work. I was a domestic violence judge. The way a temporary works, oh, you know too, so you know your line.
Yeah.
The way a temporary works is you walk in and you get it. There is no line. You went out and you applied for that restraining order to justify what you had already told your boss, which is, I'm in line for a restraining order against my sister. You did not want your sister working there. Why? It's not because she hit your son 6 months ago. Why, really, did you not want your sister working there?
So if the defendant's lying, should the plaintiff be able to get lost wages?
I think so. She assassinated her character to a potential employer. I definitely think she should.
Wow, assassinated is a strong word, but yeah, kind of is true, going inside the courtroom.
I didn't want my sister working there for the simple fact that she got her ways. And I'm very fearful of her. I don't want to.
Has your sister hit you?
Yes, she hits me.
Did you put that in the restraining order?
That's the reason why.
Did you put that in the restraining order?
I only put my son.
All right. Did you hit her son?
No. Honestly, that's my only nephew. I never hear you don't want to hear about what happened 10 years ago, so.
Not really.
I mean,
geez, you know. I have 3 daughters.
But,
I have 3 daughters, and I tell them the same thing all the time. You are best, treat each other better, which they treat each other really well.
Yeah,
but, you know, if they're fighting or arguing or whatever, or they get nasty, treat each other better, because these are your best friends, cradle to grave. So I don't know what the problem really is between you two, but that's for you two to decide if you want to have a relationship with each other. okay? If you want your child to have an aunt, if you want to have a nephew, if you want to have a sister, that's between you two. But now, what do I have in front of me? You're suing her for the statutory maximum of $5,000 because you feel that she interfered with your ability to have that job.
Yeah.
And you know, she did. She did by saying to the boss, I don't want my sister to work here. I'm in line to get a restraining order. And then she went out and she got the restraining order, or she tried and she failed. But when you said that, you were lying. You didn't have a restraining order.
That after the order protection part, once I didn't get it at that time, I went back to her and I told her, I said, we sisters,
she actually, your boss actually told you there's an order of protection.
Yeah, she told me that there's an order of protection out and I can't hire you, Kim. And yeah. And
did you get a job somewhere else?
Yes, I did. I love my job now.
All right. Michelle Dowling.
Yes.
It's not okay to lie so someone else doesn't get a job. The reason she didn't end up working there is because of a bold-faced, out-and-out lie on your part, according to your own testimony, which I think is really just a sleazy thing to do, especially when all you had to do was tell her, I don't get along with her. So I am going to order you to compensate Ms. Dowling, but not in the amount that she wants. I'm going to order you to pay her $500 verdict for the plaintiff. That's my judgment.
Thank you.
All right, so step on out of here. The defendant comes out. You just heard your sister get awarded $500 here. What's your reaction to this?
This is not $5,000 because I know I didn't do anything for $5,000. And in the future, I don't want to be bothered with her. That's in my friendship with my sister.
You know how sad this looks to everybody who has to watch this case? You know,
And the friendship. And at the sister.
Yeah. She said you were jealous of her success she's had, or...
I was never jealous of her. I just only want her to believe in me. That's it.
Okay. All right, right around the corner this way. All right, step on in here. You sued for $5,000. You satisfied with this award? Step up.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe in her?
Yeah, I always do. That's my sister, my older sister. I believe in her.
Why does she say she wants you to believe in her? Why doesn't she know that?
I don't know what actually is wrong with her. Like I said, I believe in her. I love her. I still love her as a sister. I love my nephew. All this is like crazy and stuff, and she'll put it behind one day.
You hope for that?
I hope.
Harvey?
I got to tell you, the defendant's lucky that she didn't get socked for punitive damages, fraud, oppression, or malice, and I think she qualifies on all three.